Hey, what's up, guys? Will be, I hope, the only diagram we're going to look at, and this is, the easiest way to kind of explain it. And this is, we're still on filters, but we're going to be going over filter routing and, its importance. So we have parallel and serial filters. So parallel would be, oscillator with our filter mix. And we can choose one of three options, and the variety in between. We can choose our oscillator going in either filter 1 or filter 2 or both, and then both of them are kind of routed into our amplifier and then out. Okay, groovy, got that. Serial is when our oscillator goes into our filter mix, and you'd have that set to filter 1 or filter 2 if you just wanted to altogether bypass it. It gets kind of confusing, and then it goes into, if it's in serial mode, it goes into filter 1 and then filter 2 and then to the amplifier and then to the output. Alright, so parallel, signal is split, they're filtered independently, and then they're pooped out to the world. And serial is each filter goes into each other. That's like a, filter 1 going into filter 2, and then to the amplifier, and then to your ears. Alright, end of diagram. So how am I going to demonstrate this? Well, I'm going to select a new sound. So we're going to be doing parallel. So parallel. The best way to explain this right now is to, so we have our sound, and you have to really pay attention to these three faders here, because it really depends. If you change one, you kind of have to change the other, and we'll do that right now. So we have our oscillator going into both filters, right? But no filters are doing anything. This is your filter, volume, right? So I want this to go into both filters, and we are in parallel mode because this is all the way down. You can mix between serial and parallel, which is pretty cool, but we're in parallel mode. So yes, this makes complete sense. So we can go acid. No, we'll go comb. Right, so we have that. And then I can bring my mix, so I can just listen to filter 2. Right, that's exactly how I left it, kind of. And then I want my cutoff. Right, so then I want to mix these in together. Right, so again, oscillator 1 is 50-50 mixed. The signal is split. If I want to go to filter 1 just by itself, I can do that. If I want to go to filter 2 by itself, I can do that. But I want it in the middle. So it's split, going into filter 1 and filter 2 in parallel mode. And then they are summed here. And then I can mix. If I want them 50-50 mixed. Right. 2 filters going on at once. And that works out pretty awesome. Right? So what if I want to do something a little bit different? What if I want them in serial? So filter 1 going into filter 2. So what I wouldn't want it to be split, right? Because then I'd bypass, and then if I had it split, it'd be, parallel again, right? So I want it to go into filter 1, because I know filter 1 always goes into filter 2. I'll turn that up. So for filter 1, I want our comb filter with feedback, just because it's so readily apparent. Right, so I have that, but then I created a little bit too much, upper harmonic content. So I'll have a gentle low pass. Why not? Oh my God, what's going on? Nothing's happening. Well, I have to have a mix. So if I have it 50-50, they're still acting like they're in parallel. That's because, oscillator 1 is going into filter 1, and that filter is going into filter 2, but they're mixed, so each filter is fed output into the amplifier. I need to change that. So I'll go to mix 2. Right? So now our mix, it gets really kind of confusing if you don't know what you're doing. But oscillator or filter 1 is going into filter 2, and the only output that the amplifier is receiving is filter 2, which makes a lot of sense. And there's ways to do that. So we can have just filter 1 if we're just going to mix this in. So this mixing section, if you don't know what you're doing, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. I should do another diagram, but whatever, you get it. Right, so that is serial. And I can completely bypass filter 1 by bringing this down. And then nothing happens because we're in parallel or serial. But then I can move this, and nothing still happens. Oh yeah, because filters, nothing's going into filter 1. All right. Anyway, so you guys are rather confusing. So why is this here? Well, you can mix in the filters. Right. So right now we have like a pretty cool kind of timbre-like thing. And we can boost the feedback. And then we can do cool things like scream it. So you can mix the original signal into, it's kind of like parallel compression. You have to think of it like that. You can kind of mix it in. And that's just from a simple filter, right? So yeah, just pay attention to how you're writing it. So I'll do parallel and then serial. So right now, oscillator 1, split, got it. We are on parallel, got it. Mix 1, mix 2, we're going to mix them both in equally. All right, cool. We have each filter independent. We have each filter independent, and then we can switch between them. And then we can mix them. Very virus-like in terms of, capability. Right, so that is parallel, right? If I want to go serial and do this, it still kind of sounds different. That's because we're getting kind of a weird feedback thing going on. So oscillator 2 is split, going into filter 1 and 2, but then the sound of filter 1 is going into filter 2. All right, so we have to change that. Filter 1, and then now we are in business. And that hopefully makes a lot of sense. You might want to rewatch that and rewatch that. So yeah, all right. Hopefully you learn stuff. That filter section is a little tricky, but yeah, that's basically the most difficult thing to kind of comprehend. All right, take care, and we'll be back.